Well, we warned you. Not all our picks were going to be gems. Welcome back to The Window. That's Rich Campbell. I'm Dan Wiederer. Week 1 is in the books. Rich, I crunched the numbers on our picks from last week. You were exactly what we told the audience you would be. 3-3-1. With our scoring system for 100 points for every right pick, minus 100 for every wrong pick, 0 for a tie, you got the net 0 in week 1. How's that feel?
I just get my participation trophy and move on.
You also have a 20-point lead on me. I was 3-4. I did pull off the upset pick for the Raiders. So the upset pick is not worth just 100. It's worth whatever it was on the money line. That's a plus 180 for me. So I go into the books after week 1 at minus 20. You're at 0. We got to get things regrouped. Agreed?
I love that Raiders pick. It was awesome to see you hit it. I hope our viewers went to the window on that, because what an awesome Monday night game that was. If you stayed up and had the Raiders on the money line, you were in it till the final moment.
They were also part of my teaser, right? So the teaser was in the books to begin with. I was watching that game late Monday night. The Raiders score that apparent touchdown. There's the celebration. Everyone's congratulating each other on the field, and then it gets called back by replay. Then there's a false start. Then there's an interception in the end zone, and you go, oh, my God. Yeah. This thing went sideways in a hurry. To their credit, they were able to regroup. They gave that Vegas crowd a little bit of a thrill by winning the game on the David Carr touchdown pass a little while later. But, yeah, here we go. Into week 2, we've got to do a better job of giving these folks some winners. We start, as we always do, with the Bears at home. 2-point favorites against the Cincinnati Bengals. I'll kick it off this week. We gave our predictions in our Bears-centric video. I've got the Bears 27, the Bengals 23. So that's a Bears cover. I picked them to beat the spread last week. Was wrong. They owe me one this week, I think.
Yeah, I had the Rams with the 7.5 last week, and turned out to be right. I think it could have gone either way. I think that
it went one way pretty quickly.
Well, I think it could have been more even if that first possession for the Bears went differently. Then the whole game maybe goes a different way. And if you're one of those people that tries to sift through the reality and the smoke between week 1 and week 2, which is always so hard to do, you got to dig into games like that and not just look at final scores. The Rams are good, right? And so
really
what does that mean about the Bears when the Bengals come to town? I think the Bengals have a lot going for them offensively, but not a lot of juice defensively. So it should be an opportunity for the Bears to score. If their defense can force a turnover, they'll play that complimentary ball that gets them rolling. And maybe we get to the end of the day Sunday and think, yeah, nice little easy pick for the Bears. I do think it could go the other way. I think this game's a complete toss-up. If I didn't have to play it, I wouldn't. That's how close I think it is. But I'll take the Bears by 3, 27-24, so covering the 2.
You mentioned juice. In our scoring system, there is no juice. It would create too much math, so we just go without the juice in the scoring system. Game of the week this week is the Kansas City Chiefs, reigning AFC championships, traveling to Baltimore. 3.5-point favorites against the Ravens. I'll let you start with this one and give you my thoughts.
Yeah, it's a tough turnaround for the Ravens to fly 3 time zones and lose the way they did and then play Kansas City. But I like the Ravens at home. I think they can score. They're balanced. And I think you saw the Browns give Kansas City all they could handle. If the Browns had just gotten off a punt,
right, just catch the ball, son.
Maybe that one goes differently. And so, and even that, Baker Mayfield just trying to do a little bit too much at the end of that game. It's still, Browns were still in a good position, right? So I'm gonna take the Ravens and the points just at home in a big game where that crowd will be amped and there'll be pressure on the Ravens to not drop 2 straight.
I think you're making the shrewd pick. I'm making the opposite pick. I stared at this game for a long time and said, this is a trap. This game looks like an absolute trap game. It looks like you're going to want to ride the Chiefs. You're going to want to ride the momentum, but the Ravens are at home and reeling, and they're going to do this. In the end, I picked the Chiefs because I can't resist Patrick Mahomes. It just feels like when in doubt, go with Mahomes, right? And that's where I'm at in game. I'm in doubt in this game. If it wasn't the game of the week, I would steer clear of this one. But it just feels like that Chiefs offense is one moment away from a big moment all the time, right? And you see the Tyreek Hill touchdown the other night. It's just one of those things where you're just like, of course, right? Of course. It happens every week with that team. It's going to happen again. They're going to go on the road and they're going to handle their business in Baltimore. And that's just the Mahomes factor, in my opinion.
I don't know what it says about me as a gambler that I always consider regret factor. And regret factor is 0 when you back Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
0. Like if you lose, you're like, well, I backed Pat Mahomes. He's the best, and their offense is great. So
in our snake system, I'm giving you my lock. My lock is Bills -3 against the Miami Dolphins on the road. Surprising home loss by the Bills to the Steelers on Sunday. This team really believes it's a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Their firepower and offense leads you to believe that they can back that up. They did not play their best game against the Steelers. The Dolphins go on the road to Gillette, and they beat the Patriots.
That one surprised you, I know.
I know, right? I was wrong on that one, big time. And now I have to sort of fade the Dolphins again and believe that the Bills are every bit as good as they've said they are going to be. It's hard to imagine that team starting 0-3. So you pick them to win. If you're going to pick them to win, you think they can handle a number as low as 3, right? And so I think the Bills win this one by double digits, get rolling on offense, and that's my lock.
I like that pick a lot. I went with over 51, the Vikings at Cardinals. I think they're going to score a lot of points. You saw the Cardinals go off against Tennessee and maybe one of the most eye-opening final scores of week 1. There's going to be a lot of points in that game. Both teams want to throw and move it. So 51, you're at 27, 24. Those two teams can get to that, I think, pretty easily. So I'll lock that.
All right, good luck. Give me your upset. This is always the fun one every week.
So this is a tough one. After week 1, you and I have talked about this before. You've got just that small sample size, and you lean into it really heavily. But what exactly made those final scores in week 1 turn out the way they did? Right? I mean, if you think about Buffalo, there's a block punt in that game. The punt's not blocked. Where does it go? Right? And how simple is that to correct? And then you just move on. And then the Bills are the Bills. Right. So you got to sift through this. And I think it's hard to do just given these numbers this week. And so where I'm reaching to, I'm interested to hear what you think here. Panthers plus 155 against the Saints. So then the question is, well, what do I make of the Saints after drubbing the Packers? Yeah. How much of it was the Saints? How much of that was the Packers? Probably both. And I guess I don't have a great feel for it. It would put the Panthers at 2-0 and in good shape in that division. Am I ready to go there with Sam Darnold? I don't know, but I'm going to go there because I don't have a better option.
I like where your head's at. I'll give you more of my thoughts on that in a moment because it will tie into another pick up the road here for myself. My upset pick is the game that you mentioned in the last category. It's the Vikings. I think the Vikings are plus 165 at Arizona. I have to believe that they're stung by that overtime loss, that they probably should have won. You've talked off the air about the questionable Dalvin Cook fumble that triggered really the end result in a lot of ways in that game. I think Arizona is not anywhere near as good as that impressive week 1 win over the Titans says they are. It feels like one of those games where both teams come closer back to the norm. And with the lack of a lot of really appealing options in the upset category this week, I'm going Vikings at plus 165.
Well, again, if that fumble had been ruled correctly, and in my opinion, it was upheld simply because that was the call on the field. But I thought Dalvin Cook was down. So let's say he was ruled down and the Vikings win, right? That's not even anything that happened on the football field as much as it is a subjective decision. What would that number be?
Right.
With Vikings going out there. So I like the way you're looking through that. And I'll end up taking the Vikings in the points this week. And I have no problem with that money line upset. I like it.
Just for fun is that Saints-Panthers game you mentioned, and I'm going the under in this game just for fun. Nobody has more fun than rooting for an under in a game in the NFC South. You look at these two defenses. These two defenses are legitimate defenses that don't get enough credit league-wide as being legitimate defenses. In week 1, they gave up just 17 points between them in the 2 games they played. I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair, maybe like a 2017 kind of game. And so I'm going under in Saints-Panthers there and feeling pretty good about it.
Okay. I am going to go with the Rams on the road here in Indy. I watched most of Colts Seahawks last week, and my top takeaway from that was the Seahawks were really good, really balanced, got pressure on Carson Wentz. Their offense looked really good. They've got weapons in the passing game. They've got a good running attack. I came out of that game thinking, okay, maybe Seattle's one of the best 5 teams in the league. But Indianapolis came out banged up. And I think with how good the Rams looked against the Bears, I think they'll come in and score. I'm interested to see if Indy's defense can turn it around, right? And just play better. Their defense kind of got run over in the first half of the Seattle game. They just weren't getting pressure. Their secondary was giving up chunk plays. But man, the way Matthew Stafford was moving behind the line of scrimmage, distributing the ball, he was so comfortable. I think they can cover what I believe is 4. I think it's down to 4.
NFC West looked for real in week 1, didn't it? All 4 of those teams looked really, really good. We move on to the teaser category. What do you got there?
So the Seattle offensive explosion and then defensive performance, the way that came together, that won me over. And so they have Tennessee going out there. Really interesting matchup. One of those things where you wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee regresses, ascends back to the level you'd expect them to play at after a bad week 1 showing. But it's 6.5. The Titans getting 6.5. So for Seattle, knock that down to basically a pick 'em. So I like Seattle to win at home, and then tease that with the Steelers. So again, that's another game that it's a Steelers as a pick. So both those teams to win at home.
So you're teasing it down to the pick.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So we mentioned Panthers Saints. I'm coming back here for my teaser, and I'm teasing the Panthers up to plus 9.5 because I think that everyone is ahead of themselves in buying the Saints too heavily after that drubbing of the Packers in Jacksonville last week. And so it feels like the Panthers are going to hang around in this game. You picked them straight up. I'm picking them to at least stay within 9 or 9.5 right here. Okay. You get that up at 9.5. And then I pair it with the Packers. I'm not ready to believe that disaster against the Saints was who the Packers are in 2021. You heard how confident I was in week 1 that the Packers would go handle their business. They didn't. Aaron Rodgers, Monday Night Football, Detroit Lions on the other side. If they can't get well here, they can't get well, right? This should be a Devontae Adams highlight film. It should be the Packers throwing the ball all over the field like the 49ers did against the Lions. Packers can cover the 5 easily. Pair that with the Panthers plus 9.5. You got yourself another teaser winner. I gave you a teaser winner in week 1. I'm giving it to you in week 2. If I don't give it to you in week 3, then you get these videos for free.
I had Packers written down on my notes instead of Steelers over Raiders, with the Raiders coming off that big win, short week to Pittsburgh. I just went with the Steelers instead, but I like it. You take that 12 or 11 with the Packers down through 6 and 7 to 5. I like that.
We wrap it up with what I would normally say is our Saturday fun, but it's pre-Sunday fun, really, is what it is. Our college special. Give me your college special of the weekend.
Big matchup here in the Hoosier State. I think that's what they call Indiana. Cincinnati comes across the border to Bloomington, giving 3.5. And Cincinnati is sort of the best, non-power conference team, and they score. They're only laying 3.5, and Indiana has been unconvincing. They did not play well at Iowa in week 1, and they were fine a week ago, but I just think that number is too small. I think Cincinnati comes to Indiana and wins by at least a touchdown.
As you know, I'm a graduate of the University of Illinois. As I know, you are, as your title suggests you are, a Terrapin fan. They play in Champaign this weekend. The Terps are favored by more than a touchdown, 7, and the hook. I like the hook. Illinois football is a disaster to follow. It has been that way for a long, long time. They went 0-11 while I was in school there. They eventually broke I think the losing streak might have gotten up to 19 while I was in school there, and they broke it against Middle Tennessee State and tore the goalpost down. That tells you everything you need to know about Illinois football. That goes back to the 90s. Here we are in 2021. They still can't get their footing. But you give them 7.5 at home after 2 disappointing losses. I think they get themselves right enough to stay in this game. My understanding is that you will be in attendance trying to influence that result.
Well, now I will definitely be trying to influence that result. I went to the window last weekend, foolishly, backing Illinois against UVA, and bad, horrible idea. Because I was rewarded by Illinois in week 1 against Nebraska, and it turns out that just hasn't continued. Now, Illinois has had quarterback issues with injury, and I believe they're getting their starter back for Friday night's game. So I like the pick. Maryland beat Howard a week ago, put a 60 burger on them. Doesn't really mean much. They played well against West Virginia in week 1. Maryland, as they usually do, they've got pro players at the offensive skill positions. They just have a lot of talent on the edges. And so can Illinois cover? That's the question, because Illinois secondary has been terrible. Have no problem with you back in Illinois and it's 7.5 because it's Maryland football. They probably shouldn't be favored on the road against anyone, but here they are. Yeah, it'll be fun. I've never been to Memorial Stadium in Champaign for a game, so I'm going to need to get some tips, some recs.
I don't know that I'm the best person for recommendations of watching that. It's been a long time since I've been there. They've gotten blown out a lot in my most recent visits, but enjoy the trip. It should be fun. There's a lot of places to drink in Champaign, I was told during my college years. So
I'll have to see if I can find any of those. Oh, and when I'm tearing down the goalposts, I'll make sure.
Yeah, try it. See what happens. They probably won't stop you. Just rip those things out of the ground and be on with it. As you tell your neighbors all the time, before you go to the window, come to the window. Right. So we've given you a bunch of games. We've got a slogan now that just came to me. So here we are. We've got a slogan.
Good luck to you this weekend. You really need it.
Thank you. I really do. I'm down 20 points. I'm going to narrow that gap this week.
I think so.
We'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much.
Good luck, everyone.